Welcome to another Rolled in Reacts episode. This customer came in with some starting issues, saying that he does all regular maintenance by himself. This car rolled in because the customer complained about a clunking sound after they had recently done some work at a different shop. Customer states, needed new wipers, but I fixed it myself. And this customer came in with their car looking like this after they said they heard a loud pop when driving on the freeway. This car came in full of knock-knock jokes, and the customer said that her uncle does her oil changes for her for cheap every year. The owner of this car came in after they hit a curb a bit faster than normal. Customer states, let my stepson borrow the truck for a week, but he came back with it on a tow truck saying he's sorry. This customer's Dodge Ram 1500 came in because it had quite the oil leak and knock after they had let their friend install a new exhaust manifold gasket for them the weekend prior. The owner of this car had apparently rebuilt his engine by himself and came in to see if everything looked good to the mechanic. This Mazda rolled in for an alignment when the mechanics discovered it needed a whole lot more than just that. Customer states, strange noise whenever I go over bumps, please advise. And this car apparently makes its very own fresh orange juice. Customer came in complaining about a steering wheel vibration and that their brakes feel weak and wanted it fixed. Turns out that they were missing a few parts. This car came in on a tow truck after the customer said it had started to feel really sluggish one day, and then the next day it just wouldn't start. And this customer came in saying, no matter how much washer fluid I put in this thing, it's always gone the next day. Also, I've been getting a knocking sound the past few days. Please advise. This Nissan Altima came in because it had a bit of a leak after the customer had hit a rock on the road and tried fixing the damage by himself. And the owner of this car had fixed an oil leak with an epoxy. This customer came in with their new project car that they bought the day before and wanted the mechanic to do a full inspection of it to make sure everything was fine. Customer states, had a dunking sound and their brother fixed it with some petroleum jelly, but now the sound is back. This car came in needing some suspension work after the owner had used it to go camping with his new girlfriend over the summer. And the owner of this car had installed some new brake hoses, all by themselves, but had to come in 3 days later because they now didn't have any brakes at all. This car rolled in with a pretty well done clutch. And this truck was in for some new brake pads when the mechanic discovered this. This Lambo owner came in because of a starting issue after they had tried to install a new sound system in it that they apparently got off Team U. And this customer came in right on time to have their timing belt replaced. This car came in with some brake issues after the customer had parked the car on the street for a few days while they were out of town. The owner of this car rolled in saying, I just replaced the brake pads last month at another shop, so how can I still have squeaky brakes? And this car definitely came in right on time for some new wheel bearings. Customer states, installed new sound system and it worked great for a day or two, but then the car wouldn't start. Please check and advise. This customer came in saying that they were speeding to get to work on time when they suddenly heard a loud pop and the engine started sounding strange. Turns out that the customer needed a new expansion tank. The owner of this car apparently likes to do things himself and had decided to install a new fuel pump, but had to come in 4 days later because of a starting issue. Customerstates was out trolling with my boat when the engine suddenly started to sound really weird. Could you check and see what it is? And this customer had let their buddy do some brake work on their car for a pack of beer, but had to come in a week later because the car had a loud clunk when braking and was really hard to stop. Customer came in saying that they hit a badger on their way to their friend's house, and ever since, their truck had started leaning heavily to the right. This car came in with a bit of a leak. And this customer came in asking for some new blinker fluid. The owner of this GMC Sierra rolled in because he had a clunking sound when turning after he had done some suspension work on it, all by himself. And this car came in with some brake issues after the customer had some work done at a different shop. Turns out that the customer hadn't replaced the rotors since the car was new, a couple caliper bolts were mysteriously missing, and the car had quite the oil leak because of a broken brake line. Customerstates drove through what looked like a small puddle, but turned out to be a clogged manhole without a cover. Please advise. The owner of this Chevy Cruze came in complaining about a burning smell and the car feeling sluggish after they recently replaced a valve cover gasket in a pretty interesting way together with their father-in-law. Customer came in saying that they had just bought the car off Facebook Marketplace and had picked up one of their friends to take it for a little joyride when they suddenly heard a loud metallic noise followed by the hood flying open. Looks great! The owner of this car had installed a home-built exhaust system using some pipes and random parts they found in their garage, but was in a week later because they had installed it a bit too close to the fuel tank, which had caused a leak. Customer states, car doesn't want to stop anymore, please advise. This truck came in with a noisy transmission after the owner said he hit some tumbleweed while on his way home from work. This Mitsubishi was in because it had started to run really rough, but when the customer was asked when he last had an oil change, he just went, "Oh, I have a guy that does it for me every year for like $40 or something. I just bring him the oil and then he does it." Why do you ask? The owner of this car was out driving with his wife when they suddenly hit what looked like a decorative metal duck that had fallen out of a pickup truck in front of them on the highway. This Honda CR-V was in for a post-purchase inspection after the customer had bought it for $2,500 from a guy on Craigslist. And this car came in with a pretty decent oil leak after they had done an oil change at a quick lube shop that apparently forgot to tighten the oil filter properly. This GMC Sierra came in with a starting issue and glitchy infotainment system. The mechanic discovered that water had gotten into the cab and soaked a couple wiring harnesses on the floor. When asked about the mysterious holes in the truck's body, the customer just went, "I ain't seen nothing and I ain't heard nothing, okay?" This vehicle came in because it had a couple broken fuel injectors. And apparently, this customer's favorite movie is Mad Max. When your transmission fluid starts looking like this, you're lucky to still have a transmission left. This customer had apparently designed and installed their very own anti-theft system for their classic Volkswagen. Customer states, car feels jerky, but only when braking. Please advise. The owner of this Chevy Silverado came in with a pretty blown transmission after a friend of theirs had done some work on their transmission cooler lines 3 days before. Customer came in saying that their car wiggles and rocks a lot during acceleration after their grandson had driven it for a couple of months while they were visiting some family abroad. The owner of this car had gone through 4 new car batteries in less than 3 months and couldn't for the life in him figure out what the problem was. He said that he installed a new sound system 6 months ago, but that it should be totally fine since he's done it many times before. This car came in because of a clunking sound after the owner's wife had hit a curb going 40 miles an hour. This customer rolled in after they had installed a new sport exhaust system on their truck and wanted the mechanic to have a look and make sure it all looked good. When finding the cause of your broken air condition is harder than finding a needle in a haystack. This customer came in to get a price quote on a totaled car they had purchased and refurbished by themselves. The shop owner told the customer that they should go back home and continue refurbishing it some more. Customer states, tire leak after they hit like a small lug nut or something on the road. Wants to make sure it's not too expensive of a job before approving repairs. This car was in because the customer complained about a strange rattling sound at higher speeds after they got their engine bay cleaned by a remote car washing company. Turned out to be the battery cover that had gone on a little adventure. The owner of this car came in saying that they had trouble starting their truck one day, but that their neighbor, who knew a thing or two about electronics, had helped them fix it. But that they now had a strange burnt smell in the cab anytime the truck ran more than 5 minutes. And this customer said that she can't refuel her truck no matter how much she tries. This Chevy SUV rolled in after the customer said it had started to accelerate really badly ever since they let their buddy tune it for cheap. The owner of this semi-truck came in with one of his tires looking like this. Apparently, he had parked at a local gas station for the night and gone in to buy some snacks for the evening when he got into an argument with the owner and woke up to this the next morning. This customer's Toyota Tundra came in for its first oil change in 75,000 miles, and when asked why they didn't come in sooner, the customer just replied, "Because it's a Tundra, I didn't think they needed oil changes." Customer states, "Drop my lucky coin in one of the air vents. Please check and advise." Wait, what? And this customer apparently had his own little mini garden in the trunk. Customer states, "I think I dropped the bass a bit too hard." And this bus driver apparently wanted to drive the tires to their very last mile. Customer came in complaining about his steering wheel feeling kinda strange after he had done some suspension work on it, all by himself. When you love Fast and the Furious, but you're on a tight budget. And this car was just in to get an oil change when the situation got a bit heated for the mechanic. Customer was in with their truck for some brake work when the mechanic noticed a pretty strange detail. When asked about it, the customer apparently said, "It's for aerodynamic purposes." This customer's car rolled in because it idled really badly, and this is what the mechanic found. The owner of this car came in saying that the vanity mirror doesn't want to open. And this customer complained about a nasty smell in the driver's cab and wanted the mechanic to change the cabin air filter and also have a proper look and make sure nothing had gotten stuck in the air vents. Customer came in saying that their car has had issues starting ever since they borrowed it to their grandson, who went to see his girlfriend, who apparently lives down in Arizona. "Well, there's your problem, sir." This customer had installed some new brake calipers by himself, but had apparently misplaced the caliper bolts and had to improvise a bit instead. This car came in because the customer complained about a loud noise when going into third gear, and this is what the mechanics found. The owner of this truck had ordered a new light bar online and wanted to install it by himself, but he now had a starting issue and the light bar only works between 20 and 25 miles per hour. This customer came in after they failed a safety inspection test. I wonder why. And this mechanic just wanted to share a tip on how to quickly get weather strippings out from behind the trim panels without having to use your finger. Just take a drill with a 7mm on it and let it rip. And this is apparently what a brand new clutch looks like when ordering from certain online shops these days. Yummy. Customerstates clicking sounds when turning. And hopefully this customer has some good quality car insurance. And this is what could happen if you accidentally drop stuff in the cigarette lighter that shouldn't be there while at the same time not having the correct fuses installed in your car. DIY waterfall coming in 3, 2, 1. This car came in looking like this after the customer had tried avoiding hitting a squirrel on the road but instead hit a speed bump going over 60 miles an hour. Customer came in with their Volkswagen saying, "But a little rocking is normal, right? It's a diesel after all." Nice. This customer's Dodge was in for an engine replacement when the mechanics noticed that the shop's intern had a little mishap happen when they were helping to unload the engine from the delivery van. And the owner of this car had tried replacing brake pads on it for the first time but couldn't figure it out, so he had driven it to the shop, and this is the damage that his little trip caused. This customer came in saying that their car has started to run really hot lately and asked the mechanics to have a look. This guy had used quite a decent amount of stop leak to try and save a few bucks on replacing the cooler, but it wasn't super successful. And this car came in with an exhaust leak and loud noises during acceleration after the customer had built and installed their own muffler. Customer states, "Slammed the brakes to avoid hitting a cat on the road, but ever since, the brakes have felt different." Yikes. This car came in because the customer said their turbo had started sounding like and this, folks, is why you should be extra careful letting quick fix repair shops work on your car. This mechanic was trying to turn off this old school generator for about 2 hours before he finally got it. Simplicity. Customer came in saying that their steering wheel has started to feel heavier than usual the past week and wanted it looked at. The owner of this Ford F-150 came in with quite the list of problems after they apparently hit a stone Spider-Man garden sculpture while taking a shortcut on an unmarked road. When your engine fan ends up looking like this, you probably floored it a bit too hard. Customer states, "I am a self-taught electrician. Please help." This customer came in with their project car asking the mechanic to list the things needed to be repaired. The mechanic recommended the customer to get a new project car instead. And this customer rolled in with their car in a pretty beat up condition after a few birds had gotten stuck in the driver's cab for a couple of days. This car was in because the customer had a clunking sound when pulling in and out of their driveway. The owner of this car had gone drifting with their car on a frozen lake and had been revving it in second gear for a bit longer than what they should have. As good as new. Customer states, "Strange rattling sound coming from back seat when driving at higher speeds. Please check and advise." And this car had quite the leaking problem. The owner of this car came in saying, "Friend of mine said he'd easily be able to squeeze an extra 30 horsepower out of my car, so I let him tune it, but now it's even slower than before." This customer came in for an oil change, but the mechanic had some trouble getting into the car because of the one-of-a-kind lock system that the customer had invented himself. This car had been on a pretty muddy and bumpy road and had to come in for some suspension work. Customer states, "Car runs poorly and runs out of gas even though the gas tank is full. Please advise." The mechanics discovered that the problem was caused by candy that somebody had dropped into the customer's fuel tank. Customer came in with a whining differential after they had been towing a trailer full of oversized gummy bears filled with sand for a local beach party. The owner of this Nissan was in for an exhaust leak when the mechanic noticed that the tires were pretty well used. When told about it, the customer just replied, "You might not enjoy walking on thin ice, but I do." This car was in because it had a rattling sound coming from the engine. And this customer had to come in because their truck wouldn't start anymore after they had gone mud racing with it and accidentally ended up getting stuck in a deep puddle. This Chevy Silverado came in because the four-wheel drive had stopped working after the owner had taken it on a hunting trip to the mountains and thinks he might have hit a rock or two on the way. Sounds great! The owner of this BMW came in saying that their brakes only work sometimes, after they had some work done at a different shop. Turns out that the other shop had used the wrong type of pads and rotors for this specific model. This customer's car had made its very own bologna stew in the expansion tank. And this is why you should never use any tools with sharp edges to tighten your oil filter. The owner of this car came in complaining about a steering wheel vibration after her father-in-law had helped her with a seasonal tire swap. Customer came in saying, "My car has started playing theme songs from old Western movies. Please check and advise." And this car couldn't have come in any sooner for some timing chain and tensioner work. Customer states, was in an accident with his truck and his cousin, Jerry, helped him with some bodywork, but said that he ain't all that happy with it and wants us to have a look. This customer rolled in with a power steering leak and some electrical issues after they accidentally drove through someone's private property the night before. And this pickup truck came in on a tow truck because it didn't want to go into driver reverse after the customer said he hit what looked like an oversized hockey puck on his way to the grocery store. Customer came in complaining about their car leaning heavily to one side after they did some suspension work on it by themselves. And this car rolled in because the owner said that the brake pedal had started to feel mushy lately, even though they just had it in for some new brake pads at a different shop the week before. Customer states, "Funky smell in driver's cab." Could have been a lot worse. This customer came in with their Saturn saying that they had a clunking sound for a while, but that they had fixed it themselves and wanted the mechanics to make sure it looked alright. This car was in for some electrical work when the mechanics couldn't help but notice the state of the wheels and tires. The owner of this car said that he had just bought it used 3 days ago and that he had let his friend take it for a little spin when they suddenly heard a loud crunk sound. And this customer had painted his engine bay all by himself. This customer's Toyota came in sounding a bit unhappy. And this Ford Escape came in with a fuel leak after the owner had let his brother install a new fuel pump for him for cheap. Customer states, "Unintentionally installed a lowering kit when I was out driving in pothole land. Please check and advise." This customer came in with their Toyota Starlet saying it had started handling like a drunk monkey trying to get up a tree. And this car rolled in with a handful of issues after the customer had a couple of beers with the boys while they were working on each other's cars. Customer came in saying that their little cousin had helped them do a yearly service on their car, but that there was some minor trouble in tightening the air filter box and that the car has not felt the same ever since. And this mechanic didn't know he was gambling with pretty high stakes when he put this car onto the lift. Something's not right here. The owner of this car came in saying, "My car feels slower than normal and I keep hearing these water sounds whenever I turn." And this customer rolled in because they had a clunking sound when turning after they recently had outer tie rod ends installed at another shop. Turns out they were barely even installed. And this car came in with some strange noises when going over speed bumps after the owner's son had borrowed it to go on a cross-country mini vacation with his friends. The owner of this Mercedes G-Class came in saying they have a clattering sound that's gradually gotten worse over the past couple of weeks. Turns out that somebody that likes honey roasted nuts had moved into the car and kept a little stash inside one of the doors. That's one very unhappy wheel bearing if I've ever seen one. This car came in on a tow truck after the customer said that she had lost all keys to it and wanted new ones programmed, but it only took the mechanic about 5 minutes to fix the problem. And this car had a bit of a leak. Customerstates always does his own maintenance work, but has been getting a burnt rubber smell recently and wanted it looked at. And this customer came in saying that ever since they hit a curbside last week while going to work, their car has felt kinda strange. The owner of this car had a long-time dream to go camping with his car, so he had equipped it with some cooking gear all by himself and wanted the mechanic to make sure the installation would pass a safety inspection. And when you have more water than oil coming out of your engine, it wouldn't be too bad of an idea to go buy a lottery ticket. The owner of this Chevy Silverado wanted to lift their truck but was on a tight budget, so this is what they did. This customer had recently been to a quick lube shop for an oil change, but had to come in because they now had a slight ticking noise. Customer came in complaining about a vibration when driving on the highway, and this is what the mechanics found. This pickup truck came in because it needed some body work. When asked about what had happened, the customer said, "I stole a parking spot from a guy that I've been waiting for for ages, and he got a little upset with me at first, until I showed him mine and he just took off like Bugs Bunny." And this is what happens when you install the wrong sized oil plug. The owner of this truck was on his way home from work when his rear wheels just locked up on him. Turned out that the differential gears were pretty much bone dry, which had caused the diff to blow up. Customer states, "Car started sounding like a tractor overnight. Please check and advise." And this customer came in saying that whenever they try to shift gears, their car sounds like it's having a bowl of extra crunchy, stone Fruity Loops. And luckily, this was the lift's last day at work before getting replaced. The owner of this Opel Corsa had gotten a great deal on it at a local auction and came in for a post-purchase inspection. Maybe not such a great deal after all. This customer said that they had tried fixing their squeaky brakes with some brake quiet, but that the squeak had only gotten worse since. And the owner of this Lamborghini had done his own oil change on it, but ended up overfilling it by 35 quarts. The mechanic said that the customer doesn't even deserve to own a Fiat, tops a bicycle. This customer had purchased this truck from a neighbor and parked it on his lawn for a couple of years before deciding to start working on it, but discovered this once he had it on the lift. The owner of this car had it in because they had started hearing a hissing sound from behind the dash, and this is what the mechanics found. Thankfully, the snake was alive and well and was taken to an animal shelter where it eventually found its way back to its owner. Anyone want some homemade licorice goo? And this customer woke up one day and decided it was a great idea to decorate his car with aluminum foil because why not? How you know that you're overdue on your radiator replacement? The owner of this car had some transmission work done at a different shop, but has had troubles getting it into gear ever since. And this car came in with a transmission noise right around the holiday season, and the mechanic found the transmission fluid to be all decked out and ready for Santa. Customer states, I've had a small tire leak since last Friday when I hit a curbside a bit harder than what I normally do. Please check and advise. And this customer couldn't figure out how to keep their window rolled up. This car was in for its first oil change in 44,000 miles. And the owner of this car had tuned up their exhaust system a bit because they wanted their car to sound unique. One of these is unlike the other. Can you guess which one it is? This customer had done some suspension work on their Infiniti, but had to come in because they said that it now handles like a cup of wet noodles on wheels. Yeah, all good. And this customer came in with a wobbly steering wheel after they had installed some new sportier lug nuts, but apparently picked the wrong size. Customer states, drove past a construction site and think I must have hit a nail or something. Could you check it out? And the owner of this Lexus came in saying that they smell burnt wood whenever they drive on the highway. This car came in on a tow truck because it wouldn't start. I wonder why. Here's your problem, sir. And this customer desperately wanted their interior to be tan instead of black, so they had taken things into their own hands. It definitely adds that extra earthy, ethereal smell to your driver's cab. This customer had done some brake work on his Tundra all by himself, but was in because his brake pedal now went to the floor. Hey, if it works, it works. Customer states, need new car battery. Old one doesn't want to charge anymore. Turned out to be a bust alternator. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and until next time.